What if everything you've been told about the runner's fear is just the surface ripple, missing the seismic shift happening deep below? We talk so much about their fear of love, of intimacy, of commitment, and yes, that's there, like the decorative trim on a building. But what if the real story isn't about the trim at all, but about the entire foundation being quietly, irrevocably rewritten? Imagine for a moment that the connection you share is less a romantic offering and more a spiritual activation, a live wire brushed against a soul in deep sleep. The jerk away isn't from the wire itself, but from the terrifying, luminous wakefulness it threatens to ignite within them. We've been diagnosing a fear of your heart, when in truth they are in a silent, desperate rebellion against the sovereignty of their own. See, this journey has a way of holding up a mirror so clear, so unforgiving, that it doesn't just show a person their wounds. It shows them their wings, folded, dusty, and immense. And the sheer responsibility of that sight can be paralyzing. Your presence becomes an echo of a destiny they've spent lifetimes quieting. So they run, not from you, but from the colossal question mark of their own potential that your energy makes impossible to ignore. And you, left in the seeming stillness of their absence, are cast in the role of the one who waits. But what if that too is a magnificent misinterpretation? What if you are not the abandoned, but the anchor, the keeper of a sacred, silent song that their chaos cannot permanently mute? This is where the simplistic story ends and the real mystery, far more beautiful and terribly demanding, begins to unfold. Let's talk about what you are truly holding and why this agonizing space is not a void, but the most important workshop of your life. Let's talk about the quiet earthquake. You see, everyone's so quick to diagnose the runner with a simple fear of love, as if they're just some emotionally stunted character from a psychology textbook. But what if we've been reading the map all wrong? What if their flight isn't away from the garden of connection you offer, but away from the terrifying, fertile soil of their own divine potential that your presence suddenly makes real? Imagine living your whole life in a comfortable, dimly lit room. You've decorated it, you know where every piece of furniture is. You've even grown fond of the shadows. Then someone, this connection, walks in and throws open the shutters you didn't even know were there. And it's not just sunlight that floods in. It's a glaring, undeniable spotlight on the masterpiece you left half-finished in the corner, the tools you buried, the blueprint for a cathedral you convinced yourself was just a silly dream. That's the trigger. It's not the warmth of the sun that scares them. It's the realization they've been acting as their own jailer in a cell they built, and the door has been unlocked the entire time. Your energy, your very existence in their field, becomes a living mirror. And I'm not talking about the mirror of their wounds, though that's part of it. I'm talking about the mirror of their abandoned self. It reflects back every intuitive hit they dismissed for a practical decision, every creative spark they drowned out with noise, every moment they traded their wild, sovereign truth for approval and a quiet life. This connection whispers of a power they can feel in their bones, but have no reference for in their current reality. It's like suddenly remembering you can speak a forgotten ancient language while you're in the middle of a mundane business meeting. The urge to speak it is overwhelming, terrifying, and would completely dismantle the identity everyone, including themselves, has agreed upon. So they do the only thing that makes sense to the unawakened part of them. They blame the mirror. They try to shatter it, or better yet, run far away from its unsettling gaze. They'll dive into old distractions, new superficial bonds, anything that echoes the familiar din of their former prison, because that noise is easier to bear than the deafening silence of their own limitless potential waiting to be claimed. Think of it as a kind of spiritual vertigo. You're offering them a view from a mountaintop they instinctively know is their rightful home. But looking up at the climb, the sheer brutal work of shedding the weight that holds them down, induces a nausea so profound they convince themselves the valley floor is safer, is better, is all there really is. Their running is a rebellion against the call of their own soul. And the cruel, beautiful cosmic joke is that you didn't put that call in them. You just happened to be the tuning fork that resonated at the exact frequency to make it audible. So they try to silence the fork. But the song is now in them, and that beautiful soul is a haunting you cannot outrun. They are not afraid of your love. They are terrified of the revolutionary love for themselves that your mirror demands they finally, courageously, and perhaps messily embody. Their chaos is the sound of a world cracking apart to make room for a new one they aren't sure they're strong enough to build. And here's where the plot thickens, and whereas your real understanding begins to shift everything. Because while they are in this frantic rebellion against their own dawn, a fascinating alchemy is happening on your side of the veil. But that's a conversation for when we explore what you are truly holding in the space they left behind. It's far more powerful and far less passive than you've been led to believe. Now, let's turn the entire script on its head and talk about you. Yes, you, holding this space that feels so much like heartbreak, it's difficult to see it for what it truly is. We've been sold this idea that the chaser is the weaker half, the one clinging to a fantasy, the needy counterpart to the runner's enlightened detachment. What absolute nonsense. That narrative is a disservice to the profound spiritual work you are actually doing, often blindfolded and with your heart in your hands. Let me offer you a different title, a secret job description you've been fulfilling without even knowing it. The keeper of the sacred frequency. Sounds important, doesn't it? That's because it is. While they are out there trying to dismantle the connection in the physical world, you are in the quiet, unseen workshop of the soul, holding the energetic blueprint of union together. Your longing is not a symptom of lack. It is the instrument of your fidelity. Think of it this way. Imagine a grand cosmic symphony is meant to be played. This is the harmony of your union. The runner, in their terror, has dropped their instrument and run backstage, insisting the music was never real, just a distracting noise. But you stayed. You're sitting in the orchestra pit, holding your note. Not loudly, not forcing it, but consistently, faithfully, keeping the tuning fork humming. Your tears water the roots of a tree whose branches they refuse to look at. Your unwavering sense of knowing is the North Star they've currently chosen to sail away from. But guess what? Stars don't disappear because someone closes their eyes. You are maintaining the coordinates home. This is invisible, emotional labor of the highest order. It's the work of a spiritual architect, holding the plan steady while the other party denies the very existence of the foundation. Here's where it gets really interesting and where we have to laugh at the cosmic irony a little. In your most human moments, feeling forgotten on a Friday night or wrestling with the ghost of their memory, you are ironically performing the most divine function. Yanshu are the lighthouse, not the ship. The lighthouse doesn't chase the ship, does it? It doesn't get frantic, wondering why the ship is veering off course. It simply stands, grounded in its own integrity, and emits its signal. A constant rhythmic pulse of I am here, this is real, this is true. The storm-tossed ship might curse the light for revealing the rocky shore they're headed toward, but that light is also the only thing that can guide them back to safe harbor. Your so-called chasing energy, when purified of egoic need, is that beam cutting through the fog of their denial. It's a relentless act of remembering for the both of you. So when you feel that ache, that persistent pull, reframe it. Don't see it as a hole in your wholeness. See it as the echo of the contract your souls signed. You are the custodian of the vision. You are the one who agreed, on a soul level, to remember first, to feel it all fiercely, so that the vibrational template doesn't collapse into the old world's noise. It's a tough job, honestly. It asks you to find a love within yourself so vast that it encompasses their absence without bitterness. It asks you to hold a frequency of completion while living in the reality of separation. That's not weakness, my friend. That's a kind of spiritual strength that leaves me in awe. It's the strength of a gardener who tends a plot of land they can't yet see, trusting the seeds buried deep in the dark earth because they've felt the truth of the harvest in their bones. And this thankless, beautiful, grueling work you're doing, it has a precise and inevitable effect. It creates a tension in the field, a gravitational pull toward coherence that their fragmented reality simply cannot withstand forever, which leads us, quite naturally, to the fascinating collapse of the very world they ran to, not as karma, but as grace, and the stunning moment when the keeper's signal finally becomes the only sound they can hear. Let's speak plainly about the collapse. Not the melodramatic end of a situationship, but the systematic, almost architectural crumbling of the world the runner built as a refuge from their own power. This is what we must understand. The universe is not punishing them. It is liberating them. That life they fled into, the comfortable relationship that asks nothing of their soul, the career that trades passion for pension, the entire identity built like a carefully curated museum of their smallest self, that isn't just a place, it's a fortress, and your steady presence as the keeper of the frequency, that unwavering note you hold, acts like a subtle, relentless vibration. At first, it's just a faint hum in the foundation, then a crack in the plaster. Then one day, the entire wall just shakes loose. Think of it as a spiritual law, as non-negotiable as gravity. You cannot awaken a seismic force within a soul, which is what this connection does, and then expect it to sit quietly in a room made of papier-mâché. The energy that was ignited is a truth serum, a reality solvent. It starts to dissolve anything not aligned with its authentic frequency. So the relationship they chose for solace begins to feel like a silent movie, utterly devoid of the profound dialogue their soul now craves. Their work turns mundane, not because it is, but because they are now seeing with new eyes that perceive purpose where before they only saw task. Friendships may feel shallow. A profound existential loneliness sets in, but it's a specific kind of loneliness. It's not the absence of people, it's the agonizing presence of their own absence from themselves. This is the sacred deconstruction, and it is a mercy. The turnaround moment, that precise hinge in time everyone wonders about, is not when they miss you. Let's be honest, they've missed you. It's a whisper they've been drowning out with noise. The real turnaround begins in the absolute quiet of their own exhausted evasion. It's when the pain of staying the same, of living in that crumbling, echoing fortress, finally, irrevocably, exceeds the terror of becoming who they are. It's the moment the illusion of safety in smallness breaks. They look at the ruins of what they ran toward and realize there's nowhere left to run except inward, and no one left to blame. The chase ends when they stop running from you, from the mirror, and start running toward the source of the very power that frightened them. Your detachment, should you achieve it, becomes the final masterstroke. It removes the external focus of their turmoil. When they can no longer point to you as the cause of their chaos, they are left alone in the center of it, forced to finally acknowledge the storm is not coming from the sky. It is erupting from within the ground of their own being. So see this not as a period of lack, but as a season of divine demolition. The old world must fall. It is the only way the new one, the real one, can be built. And here's the quiet hope in that rubble. While they are navigating the collapse of their fortress, you, the keeper, are no longer just holding a note. You've been building a home within yourself, one with an open door, no locks, and a light that never wavers. And the beautiful, unspoken question that hangs in the air between separation and union is not if they will find their way, but what you both will create from the raw, truthful materials of your own sovereign selves when the walls are finally gone. So here we are at the end of this particular map, and I need you to understand something fundamental. This entire dramatic, heart-wrenching, bewildering process was never about crafting a perfect romance with another. It was and is about encountering the precise catalytic force required to initiate you into a romance with the entirety of your own existence. The runner, the chaser, the silence, the ache. These are not obstacles on the path. They are the path itself, meticulously designed to wear away everything in you that still believes love is something to be found rather than something to be embodied. This connection is the universe's most effective, if somewhat dramatic, workshop in spiritual autonomy. Think of it as a kind of cosmic navigation school. For a while, you learn to steer by their star, feeling the pull, tracing the orbits. It taught you depth, it taught you longing, it taught you the feel of a gravitational pull so specific it defies logic. But the ultimate lesson, the graduation, is not in following that pull. It is in realizing you contain within your own core the same luminous material, the same nuclear furnace, and you are now being asked to become your own central sun. A completed orbit is not one object circling another forever. It is a harmonious dance between two self-sustaining spheres, each illuminating their own space, creating a shared gravity that is choice, not need. This journey forces you to generate your own light, your own heat, until you're no longer a planet in search of a sun, but a sovereign celestial body in your own right. And from that place, connection is no longer a rescue mission. It is a conscious, glorious merger of two whole universes. What you are left with, then, is not a waiting room. It is a foundation. Every tear was mortar, every insight a stone. The love you cultivated in the absence, that's the cornerstone. You built a temple within yourself where this connection is already honored, already understood, already complete. So whether the other soul chooses to walk into their own parallel sanctuary and meet you in the shared courtyard is almost beside the point. Almost. Because you have, through this fiery alchemy, constructed a home so whole, so resonant, that any union that follows will simply be the celebration of a truth you already live in. You are no longer keeping a frequency for them. You have become the frequency. And that, dear seeker, is the quiet miracle hiding inside the chaos. You set out to understand a mysterious other and ended up deciphering the most profound mystery of all, the unshakable, glorious architecture of your own awakened soul. And from this vantage point, every step, even the painful ones, are revealed not as a diversion, but as the only way you could have possibly arrived here, to this moment of unscripted, breathtaking beginning.